Good evening to all. Put that down. Well, you know what we're not going to talk about tonight? We're not going to talk about politics. Not at all. What we are going to talk about is opening day at the new cathedral for the Texas Rangers baseball team. Now, I've done other posts on this in the past, and I'll be honest. Arlington needed a new stadium like they needed a hole in the head. Yeah, it's hot in Texas. In fact, I debated this with some friends down by the pool this evening. You live in Texas, what's it do in the summer? It gets hot. But you have a choice. You can go to the baseball game or you don't go to the baseball game. I realize that's a novel idea, especially in today's turbulent times, but it is a choice. And the Rangers were drawing on the average $2 million a year. That's pretty damn good. You can't be upset about that, can you? No. But the brain surgeons in Arlington, of course, I think someone ought to get their money back on that, decided we need this monstrosity. And they got it. Well, the shortened season last year didn't help, so it kind of squashed the excitement of an opening day and all the hoopla and the grandeur. And even though they held the World Series there, it was still kind of flat. Okay. So they're all hyped up. Been talking about it for 6 months. We're going to have this grand opening, this big shebang, get it off on the right foot, and here we go, Rangers. Yeah, here we go. Final was 6-2. So their current record is 1-3. I know it's early. We'll get to the team in a little bit. But the stadium itself, $1.1 billion. This was, they had the dome opened. Not a dome, the sliding roof. And I like some of the descriptions. It looks like a sardine can or a tin can that you take one of those old crank openers and just pop, 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 and then the whole thing will open and you can peel it back. It really is. That's what it looks like. It does not look like a baseball stadium. It looks like a, I don't know, box of saltines that got dropped somewhere. So they sing the national anthem, both Canada, O Canada, Star Spangled Banner. Things are looking good, and it's like, well, where's the flyover? This is opening day. There got to be a flyover, right? Should be. Well, there was. Somewhere, somehow, they're really good at synchronizing this stuff to where those planes come over on the very last note of the Star Spangled Banner. But there was a lag today. I mean, was there more air traffic than normal? Did the pilots take off late? Did they start the anthems too soon? I mean, it is a delicate dance. And there's a video on how much planning it goes into doing one of these flyovers. So the Star Spangled Banner's finished, and you're waiting for it. It's like any minute now, any minute now. And then whoosh. And luckily the camera was pointed straight up. So you saw these two fighters for like a second. And then they tried to go to another camera that's kind of mounted in the roof to catch the tail end. Well, he missed it. Because you can't see a damn thing inside the stadium. Nothing. You have a flyover, you don't know where the planes are until they are flying over. So there's strike one for the new dome, for the new roof, the new, let's just call it a slider, like the old cell phones we had back in the 90s. It's just a slider, that's it, just, up and down, up and down. Well, so that kind of faux pas. And Emily Jones, when she did her opening bit, they forgot to cut her off from the PA system. They had to figure that out. And then they had another glitch during God Bless America where the guy who was singing, we only heard half of the words. And I understand it's opening day, but this stadium got tested last year. Now, are you telling me that the techs that are running the show now were not the ones running it during the World Series and the playoff games? I find that very difficult to believe. Very difficult to believe. So we had electronic faux pas, but the worst. It was a 3 o'clock start, which is one of my buddies brought to my attention. That is an odd start time. Usually it's 1 or 2. 3 was a little odd. Well, at 3 o'clock, a third of the field is already shaded. The sun's out. Yeah, there's partly cloudy, no big deal. Some cumuli are dancing around and flying by. No worries. The shade gave the cameraman fits. It was like looking into a cave. It was so damn dark. And when they had to go from the shade to the sunlight, they just couldn't get the filters going. They couldn't move them fast enough. It was that bad. And then as the sun set more, it just got worse. It was dark. I mean, anyone who's watched a game or been to Tropicana knows what I'm talking about, but at least they've got lights. This was a day game. And if they had the bank of lights on, it wasn't helping at all. It was horrible. And I was watching the game with a friend, and he was disgusted. It was so dark in there. The umpires chose to wear black today. There were times the plate umpire just melted into the background. You couldn't see him. It was horrible. And all I'm thinking is $1.1 billion for this monstrosity. Now, I'm trying to go back because I did watch some of the World Series games and what they were like. But I did not get an exciting feeling like when the Rangers were up in Kansas City and they're in an open air stadium and the sun's out. And yeah, they had restricted fan attendance, but that's okay. It felt like a baseball game. This felt like being in a Flintstone house. They'd have done better to hold this at the Bronco Bowl. You know, Fred and Wilma's house probably has better and cheaper lighting than what this monstrosity has. Now, maybe in the night games, it'll be better. I don't know. But, you know, for a day game, if you watch the replay, you're really not going to know that it was a day game. And you don't get that feel that this is exciting. We want to be there. And I know that they've doubled and tripled the price of the seats because of this new monstrosity. That's going to be like pulling teeth to get me to go there. But just flat. You don't get that unknown, damn, what's the word? I can't think of it. The intangible that makes baseball such a great game, which is the stadium. It's not there. It just wasn't there. And I've watched plenty of opening days with the Rangers and other teams, and it's like, yeah, this is baseball. The sun's out. The sky's clear. There's a little wind. You got the hot dogs. You got the popcorn. You got the beer. You got a Coke. Man, it just doesn't get any better. I did not get that feeling today. And it sure didn't help in how they played today. Culberson at third. I understand they're trying to figure out who's going to take third since they basically just let Odor go. I mean, he's gone. Won't be back. I was not impressed with him. And they apparently the scorekeeper gave this guy a hit, and Culberson was out of position when he tried to field the ball. It went off his glove. Wasn't impressed with that. Solak and Falefa, the tandem of second and short, they look good. Look good. Low at first. Not a lot of difficult plays, but he held his ground. Trevino, I like Jose Trevino. I've always liked Jose Trevino. I liked him 4 years ago, and I really like him today. He does what he's supposed to do. The starting pitching, well, so far, that has definitely not lit it up. They've been lit up, and it happened again today. What's his name? Flidorovich? I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'll look it up another time. He looked good for the first couple of innings. Gave up run here, run there. Then he gave up 2 straight home runs. That's what I saw him do against Milwaukee in their second warm-up game this year. Looks good for a couple of innings, and then boom, boom, boom. They're gone. Cody came in relief. Oh, good Lord. You know, people can say it's nerves. I understand that. But I also understand this. Connor Brogdon, who I've been following for over 8 years, got called up to the Phillies this year as a reliever. He pitched his first relief game. He got the 3 batters out in the 9th inning. The Phillies won in the 10th, and he got the win. So I don't want to hear about being nervous. If anybody should have been nervous, should have been Connor Brogdon. Your first time at the show, you come in a tie game, you would think the pressure would get to him. Nope. Blew it off, did his job, team got the win. Cody hits 2, the first 2 batters. Then he gives up a base hit. Then he hits the next batter. I'm not worried about the defense of this team. I've said this from the get-go. Not worried about it. I'm worried about the pitching because the offense, yeah, they can score runs, which they showed in the first game against Kansas City. They got 5 runs at the top of the top of the first. And then boom. Gibson gave up 5 in the bottom of the first. He only pitched a third of an inning. This is my worry. My worry is this pitching. You don't have good pitching. You can have the best defense and the best offense in the league, and you're not going to win a damn thing. But this new stadium, I know it's early, but to be honest, instead of spending $1.1 billion, you either, 1, should have stayed at Globe Life Park and spent some more on remodeling, or 2, called up the town of Bedrock and see if the Bronco Bowl was open, because it would have looked a hell of a lot better than it did today on TV.